And once you have a family, you start taking risk not just for yourself, but for your family as well. It gets much harder to do things that might not work out.
Well, I really need to give some thought to how can I provide advice that would be most helpful, and I'm not sure I've given enough thought to that to give you the best possible answer, but certainly being focused on something that you're confident will have high value to someone else, and just being really rigorous in making that assessment, because people tend to, a natural human tendency is wishful thinking. So a challenge for entrepreneurs is to say, well, what's the difference between really believing in your ideals and sticking to them versus pursuing some unrealistic dream that can actually have merit? And it's to tell you, can you tell the difference between those two things? So you need to be sort of very rigorous in your self-analysis. I think certainly extremely tenacious, and then just work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in, 80 to 100-hour weeks every week. All those things improve the odds of success. If other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, then even if you're doing the same thing, you know that in 1 year you will achieve what they achieve. You will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve.
So many people don't believe that they have what it takes to become successful. In actuality, they're completely wrong. Everybody has the opportunity to become successful. It just matters if they take advantage of the opportunities which they can use or not. So many people get stuck saying they don't have enough time, they don't have enough money, they don't have enough energy, whatever the case may be. But in actuality, in all honesty, they have plenty of all of that. They're just not using it the correct way. They're not using it the best way to help themselves and help their dreams grow and flourish. So if that's not your number one priority, then of course you're not going to have enough time or energy to focus on that if you don't find those things truly important. But you need to make sure that you do find them important, so that you do decide to dedicate time and energy and money and focus to that, so that you can eventually become the successful individual that you've thought to become and striving to become every single day. And the longer you go about trying to become successful, the easier it will get, because with each failure, you gain something new. You learn something new, not only about yourself, but about whatever the task is at hand and whatever intel that you need to gain in order to become more successful and more engaged in the topic that you're trying to become great at, because you only get one chance to become successful. So you might as well go all in on something that you truly love and don't hold anything back. Go 100% all in and be fully committed to whatever it is that you want to pursue. And that way you won't be having to say you don't have enough time for anything like that, because you will be committed to your goals.
Well, I think first of all, I should say that I did not expect to be involved in all these things. So the 5 things that I thought about at the time in college, so quite a long time ago, 25 years ago, making life multiplanetary, accelerating the transition to sustainable energy, the internet, broadly speaking, and then genetics and AI. I think I didn't expect to be involved in all of those things. I actually, at the time in college, I sort of thought helping with electrification of cars was how I would start out. And that's actually what I worked on as an intern, was advanced ultracapacitors to see if they would be a breakthrough relative to batteries for energy storage in cars. And then when I came out to go to Stanford, that's what I was going to be doing my grad studies on, was working on advanced energy storage technologies for electric cars. And then I put that on hold to start an internet company in '95, because there does seem to be like a time for particular technologies when they're at a point in the inflection curve. And I didn't want to do a PhD at Stanford and then watch it all happen. And then I wasn't entirely certain that the technology I'd be working on would actually succeed. You can get a doctorate on many things that ultimately do not have practical bearing on the world. I really was just trying to be useful. That's the optimization. It's like, what can I do that would actually be useful?
As Jonah was alluding to, there are a lot of negative things in the world. There's a lot of terrible things that are happening all over the world, all the time. There are lots of problems that need to get solved. There's lots of things that are miserable and kind of get you down. But life cannot just be about solving one miserable problem after another. That can't be the only thing. There need to be things that inspire you, that make you glad to wake up in the morning and be part of humanity. That's why we did this. This guy called Tsiolkovsky, one of the early Russian rocket scientists, the great saying, "Earth is the cradle of humanity, but you cannot stay in the cradle forever. It is time to go forth, become a star-faring civilization, be out there among the stars, expand the scope and scale of human consciousness." I find that incredibly exciting. That makes me glad to be alive. I hope you feel the same way. I think it would make far fewer mistakes, obviously, if I could go, like, here's a list of all the dumb things you're about to do, please do not do them. I mean, it's hindsight's 2020, so it's hard to say. I mean, I've made so many foolish mistakes, I lost count, honestly. I mean, some of these things I just wish the simple sort of mantra, management by rhyming. I mean, it worked for Homer. The management by rhyming is, if the schedule's long, the design is wrong. We've overcomplicated the design many times, and I think we've just gone with a simpler design, with the acid test being, how long will it take for this to fly? And if it's going to take a long time, don't do it. Do something else. If you look at, say, Falcon 9, it's got an aluminum lithium tank, but then the unpressurized structures are carbon fiber composite. And really, one of the worst possible things you could do to a joint is take something with a high coefficient of thermal expansion, high CTE, take it from room temperature to cryo, and then connect it to something that has 0 CTE. So now you've got a real pain in the ass joint, basically. So in order for that to work, the tank's got to shrink radially, and you've got these super expensive, heavy bolts that are like a beam and bending across, that are then taking load into, really should just have a continuous metal structure. But that's obvious, that should be done. That'd be way better.
Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let us know what you thought down in the comment section down below.